I've said this before, but some people are never agreeing with me. But you see, whenever you have an athlete who does so well in a certain event that no one is able to come any close, some people will always come and say that the person in question was using performance enhancing drugs. And this is the same case with Chepng'etich. Now, she became the first woman to be able to run under 210, which is just amazing on its own. And during immediately after the race, during the press conference, you all know the question that she was asked about whether she does doping or not.
Some people may think that the time is too fast and that you must be doping. What would you say to them?
And she said that people will always talk, which I feel like it was the best answer for the moment, because again, people will always talk, and sometimes it is hard to know if an athlete was using performance enhancing drugs, if it was just pure talent and training, because some of these athletes put in a lot of work to be able to achieve this kind of performance. And also, there's a number of things that has improved over the years, like we are talking about the shoe technology. And again, in this event, when you look at it, you have to look at it in terms of paces. There's an article that I was reading where they were saying that this world record should have an asterisk on it, because she had paces pushing all the way, like until the end, near the end. There's one person who went with her like to the end, and this person, he was able to achieve a time of 2:10 on his own. So if you have such kind of pacers, and it's as if these pacers came to the event just prepared to help her break the world record. For those who don't know, in 2022, I think it was 2022, was it 2022 or 2023, Chepng'etich came close to breaking the world record, just missing out by 14 seconds. And I think she came to this event knowing that this is my time, I have to do it now. And maybe she gave instructions to these pacers that I want you to run at a certain pace. And she was determined to maintain, like if you have male pacers who are so good, male pacers are going to maintain a certain pace, and she was determined that she's going to keep close to them no matter what. And that again comes in with something to do with endurance. Of course, she began with a very high tempo, like the first 5k she did it in 15 minutes, then followed by the next 5k in 15 minutes and 14 seconds. And like by this time already she had done a lot of damage, and I guess people were expecting her to slow down, but she was able to maintain roughly around 15. When it came to kilometer 30 to 35, that is when it appeared as if she was slowing down a little bit, but again she was able to do 15:43, which again is quite amazing. 15 minutes and 43 seconds, which is just amazing. And like for me, I feel like this event had the biggest help she got was from pacers. Maybe going forward they can come up with rules where they say that when it comes to women events, let's have women pacers doing the pacing, not male pacers. Because if you have a male pacer, these guys are already they're already able to achieve more than the women. And if you consider, like in this event, you have a pacer who is going to finish at 2:10, like 2:10 is 2:10, actually 2:10 for a pacer. 2:10, if you go to the marathon, 2:10 is like you can be able to qualify for the Olympics with 2:10. You can be able to, I think the Olympics in Rio, was it Rio? I think you can be able to qualify with a 2:10. Again, 2:10 in a marathon, it will place you somewhere around the top finishers in the event. So 2:10 is a very high tempo, and the fact that you have a pacer who can be able to run at 2:10 is just amazing. So maybe in the future they can be able to say, like, when it comes to women events, let's have women pacers doing the pacer and not men. Then that way they can be able to maybe also be able to break away from a certain point where you leave the athlete running. Again, I think that in the rules they should be able to specify maybe a pacer, how far is a pacer supposed to go in a marathon. Like maybe you're supposed to go to maybe kilometer 30, kilometer 20, kilometer 25. They're supposed to specify these kind of things so that maybe an athlete knows, like, so that we know starting from a certain point, you're going to have an athlete pushing on their own. I know people, when talking about pesas, they see it as a small thing, but if you consider the event that was Eliud Kipchoge in the 159 event, you see how the paces were important. Like in that event, he was able to be paced from start to the end, and that way they were trying to achieve they were trying to achieve 159, which was more experimental and not in the kind of like an official event. But I guess when you have an official event, we should not have pacers running from start to end. We should have some rules regarding the same, which specify at which point is a pacer supposed to drop. Now for me, I feel like the kind of pacing in this event is maybe what helped her to break the record with such a big margin. Maybe she had just given them instructions that I want to break the record, but now with this kind of pacing, it was able to place her like very far ahead in terms of when you compare to the second person. The second person came in like 7 minutes later, which is just ridiculous. Like if you consider this type of event, man, it was just ridiculous. It's like you're competing an event where you're competing with people who like are not at your level. Like this type of competition, it will like, let me put it in this way. The time that she finished with the first half of the marathon, that time, if you take it to the rankings, when it comes to the fastest marathon times, it will place her at position 5. Is it position 5 or 4? It will place her somewhere at position 5 or 4 of all time in history, if you consider the time that she did for the first half marathon of the event. Like it was too fast. And for me, I feel like it had a lot to do with endurance and also the pacing. People who are able to pace are like people who are just amazing in it. These are people who can be able to do I think they can be able to go and compete in some low-key marathon events and win, that don't have world-class guys competing in them. They can be able to do these events and win, because a 210 is just amazing. Now you have such a person who is pacing you. I believe that if you have enough endurance and you're able to keep up with them, that comes to endurance. Are you able to keep up with them? When you feel the pain, are you able to endure that pain and keep up? So that's the thing. And once you get to a certain point and you see the end, you're going to push more harder. And she a little bit slowed down. That's why the second half of the marathon was a little bit slower compared to the first half. But again, the way she began, she had already done a lot of damage. She began with a very high tempo, 15 minutes in 5k, man. It's just amazing. 15.43 in the next 5k, again, just amazing. I'll be able to share the splits for it so that you see it, and if you don't believe, maybe, or if you have some issues, but I feel like what made her to be able to break to do well in this event, it had to do with the pacing. Yeah.